Go ahead.
Gracias. Sorry, I don't speak Spanish. My name is Rhonda Carrier, and I'm here to talk about what the Basque Country can do to be an attractive destination for families. But first of all, I wanted to thank you for inviting me to your beautiful region and to talk to you about one of my favourite subjects. I thought it would be useful to introduce myself a bit and to share my background in family travel, to show not so much about me, but about the media landscape and about the possibilities in the UK for promoting the Basque region. I work with travel agents, I work with the media and with the PR. I'm primarily a travel writer, and I started in family travel. My children are now 20, 18 and 15, but I've been traveling with them since they were toddlers. I've been writing family guidebooks. I contribute to magazines, the national newspapers. But I also work in PR. So yes, I'm based in Manchester. I've worked in travel publishing for more than 25 years. I've worked for all the major travel publishers, Lonely Planet, Frommer's, Fodor's, Time Out, and others. I regularly produce family content for the National Geographic Traveller UK magazine, which is a huge reference point, very well regarded, and other national media, including The Guardian, The Telegraph, and Hearst publications. And I'm here as head of content at Take the Family, which is a hybrid. We are a travel agent, but we're also a family information and inspiration resource. But I will talk more about Take the Family later. And lastly, I do the UK PR press relations for Avia Reps, which is a Europe-wide press and media agency, and I do the PR for Croatia, the whole country, and for the Savoie-Mont Blanc region, which is most of the French Alps as well. So this means that I am also know how to get media coverage. For instance, I invite media on press trips to those countries. I give them news about those places. So, and I did the same for the Maldives, for Avia Reps, and I've worked with the Hauts-de-France in northern France tourist board as a writer and translator. So I work with a lot of tourist boards in like how to get their message across to the UK market, but from different angles, from PR, as a writer. And I've worked with British holiday companies who specialise in family holidays, including Mark Warner Holidays, which does ski holidays in the French Alps, and Mediterranean beach holidays, and also luxury family hotels. So I work a lot with branding and marketing companies, even though I am a writer. And as I say, I've travelled all over the world with my own children when they were toddlers, babies, teenagers, and now young adults. So I know all the challenges of travelling with children of different ages. So I was asked to talk about sorry, this is not... Can somebody help me with the... Oh, yeah. No, that's too much. Sorry. Give me one moment. I was asked to talk about what family-friendly tourism is and what we mean by this. I think it's been covered pretty well. I mean, you are all experts in family-friendly tourism. You've all been working on your projects for a long time, so obviously I can't, this, you know, a lot of what I might say might be very obvious to you because this is what you've worked very hard at. I think my own perception is that family-friendly tourism has been a big buzzword in family tourism for about 10 to 15 years. When my own parents travelled with me, there wasn't the information, there wasn't the web, there wasn't the amount of choice that we have today. So a place might have been welcoming to children, but it spoke for itself. There wasn't the labels or the branding or the marketing that there is these days. And I think that was often because people just went to their travel agent, their local travel agent and actual office, and they asked for a recommendation from a travel agent as to a family-friendly place to go. They didn't have all the resources and all the choice that they have these days. And there was just a more limited perception of what the appropriate destinations might be. There wasn't the, you know, I mean, in the 1970s, the Basque Country, nobody would have probably come here. You know, obviously Bilbao changed things for your region. and people know that now, but there was just less imagination, I think, in terms of like what constituted a family holiday. So people knew what to expect, and I think the lines are more blurred these days. To take one example of Ibiza, it's still a party island, but today it's much more family friendly. The same with the Maldives. It was seen as a honeymoon destination, and today it's more family friendly. But it's about where do you get the information about where to go. You don't want to go to Ibiza and go to San Antonio with a family. You want to know where to go. You want the message to be there. You don't want to go to the Maldives and go somewhere where there's just couples and your children are annoying. So, you know, the information is there, but it's like it's almost too much information, and you still need an expert to tell you in each place which is that good place. So I feel that there's been a lot of paying lip service, as it were, to the idea of family-friendly destinations. I think a lot of resorts, for instance, might think, oh, we're going to say we're family-friendly. They may have been a couple's resort, but then they'll say, oh, we are family-friendly, but they've not really thought about what children and adults actually need from a trip, which has been discussed. You know, every family is different. There are blended families. There are LGBT families, there are single-parent families who have very specific needs in themselves. Every family is different. Some have, you know, children of very different ages, like teenagers and toddlers traveling in the same family. How do we kind of reconcile that? Each family is very different. And so I think the label is applied, but then very often what might happen is a family might be disappointed because the resort or the destination is over-promising. They're promising too much. And, you know, as an example of a resort that, as I said, welcomed couples in the past, but now it decides it wants to be a family-friendly hotel as well. But it's not enough to just say we are family-friendly. If you go to that resort and there is, you know, there's a lot of couples and they are visibly annoyed because your children are making noise by the pool. You know, if you're going to try and market to both of those, then you need to say, we have an adult-only pool where the adults can go who don't want to be disturbed by children. We have an adult-only section of the restaurant, or we have an adult-only restaurant among several restaurants, so that parents feel comfortable that their children are not disturbing it. Or you make it only family-friendly. We only welcome families. We don't welcome couples because, you know, they will feel unwelcome themselves. And I think it is about the concept of having fun together, you know, which has been very well addressed here today with the whole, you know, gastronomy and wine thing. Obviously, you've got that. You've been thinking about that very deeply, about how to make those experiences like friendly to children as well. You know, I think there's a lot been said about asking the kids what they want, and the kids being happy, and I agree with that. Of course, they are the most important thing, but I think parents sometimes feel exhausted. They're trying to do too much for their children, like it's all family activities all day long, and then you get to the end of the day and you feel like you've been entertaining your children, and it's not a holiday about you anymore. It's a holiday about your children and making them having fun. And if you spend a whole day, like in a theme park, for instance, you can sometimes, even unless you really love theme parks yourself, you can often feel like, well, that was all for the kids, but what's for me? I think there's the balance of, you know, something for the kids, something for me. So in the morning we go to a water park, or in the afternoon we go for a water park. In the morning we go to a wine cellar, but hey, you can also try these different things. It's not just the kids go and stand in the corner while the parents drink some wine and stuff. But it's giving them the options for like doing those different things. I think I might have missed a slide. So yes, I was asked what are the main destinations that UK families choose to travel with their children, and the good news is that Spain is still the most popular country, apparently, by a long, long way, with 16.5 million visitors from the UK in 2022, which is obviously more than double the next country, which is France, Greece, 4.2 million, Italy, 4.1 million, and Portugal with 3.8 million. And obviously, these countries have in common the fact that they are very familiar to the British. They're very easy to reach. They're very expensive because people are still nervous about traveling long haul. There's still a hesitation about going further away. Maybe that will change quite soon as people grow more confident again. But at the moment, you can benefit from the fact that people want to go somewhere familiar, not too far from home. And also these places have the perception that most accommodation and eating out is not too expensive, that these destinations are friendly, friendly towards children. They have a good sense of the family, and families who do things together, and they have good food and drink, and crucially that most people, or many people, speak English, and this is something that I want to cover. I'm not particularly proud of the fact that the British we're very conservative travellers, but obviously we've been spoiled in the past in terms of we're used to people speaking English. So I think even though the Spanish is now apparently the most widely taught language in the UK, which is quite new, in the past it was French or German, hardly any English people can speak a good level of Spanish. And British people are nervous when they go to a place where they might not feel themselves to be understood. Whoa, what just happened? So is the Basque Country among the most popular destinations? Clearly you know the answer to this already. I don't need to tell you that it's not. I think it remains relatively unknown by British, and it's sad to say that most British people, I think, would not even know where it is on the map. They will have heard of Bilbao and maybe Donostia, sorry for my terrible pronunciation, Donostia, San Sebastian, but not other places. It's an almost wholly unknown region. I think the people that have heard of it will have heard of San Sebastian because of the ferries from Britain, obviously the Bilbao because of the Guggenheim. But yes, as it was pointed out earlier, British people they're conservative, they want to go somewhere familiar, but they often want to go somewhere that's been recommended by friends. Word of mouth recommendations, the other parents in the school playground, where did you go on your holiday? Which resort did you go to? That counts for a lot. I've seen a lot of parents who just book holidays because somebody, their neighbour or their kids' friends, parents, booked a holiday to a resort in Turkey, and they said that was great, the kids had a great time, and that's enough for them. Or, maybe they'll check on TripAdvisor and see that other families liked it and stuff. But recommendation of friends is something, again, counting on people speaking English, serving child-friendly food, and these are barriers to them visiting the Basque Country because they don't know. For instance, when I was preparing this, I go on Google, is English widely spoken in the Basque Country? There's a lot of parents asking these questions. You can see the kind of questions that people are asking if they are thinking of the Basque Country. You can see there's a certain nervousness, like there's an unknown quantity. So I think that's, a barrier, but also a challenge. It's the challenge for you. At the moment, most people would choose a better-known region or city of Spain if they were considering Spain. Obviously, Barcelona and the Costa Brava, the Balearics, the Canary Islands, and Andalusia, especially the Costa del Sol, tried and tested places that have been well known for a long time and that are very popular. I think you've also got the situation, it was very interesting to see that your average stay in the area is less than 2 nights. And I think I have the same issue as working with the Haute de France tourist board, which includes the Calais, which is obviously the ferry and the Eurotunnel port, is that they have lots of British arriving in the area, but they just go straight through. They maybe spend 1 night back to the ferry or 1 night on the way out of the ferry, but they largely just get in their cars because they're driving to the more popular areas. And the big challenge for the Haute de France, as with you, is to stop those people and say, actually, there's lots to see here. You just don't know about it yet. Don't come on the ferry and get off your car and just visit Bilbao for one night and go to the Guggenheim, show them exactly what there is, how many things there is, to make them stay in the region and to make them more familiar. So you would show like the variety of things I think that you could combine in a holiday in the Basque region. I mean, like the lady from the Barcelona region was saying, you've got Portaventura. I've been to that destination with my family, and we primarily went for Portaventura because my kids are theme park fiends, but we had a city break in Barcelona, I think 3 days. So we went to Picasso Museum, we went to the Chocolate Museum, did a chocolate workshop, then we go to Portaventura, then we go to a holiday park, so we have a beach holiday. So you can have like the combination of that holiday in that region, like 2 days of this, 2 days of this, 2 days of this, or more days of that, and extend it by showing people that they can have different kinds of holiday in the Basque region. And it's the same here. You could come, have a 3-day beach holiday or more, have 2 days in Bilbao, go hiking, and then have 3 days hiking in the mountains, rent a cottage and go hiking in the mountains. So I think it's getting that message across that it's not just a destination that you should pass through. So again, the main services that UK families look for when choosing a destination, British like their holidays to be easy. I'm not again saying that that's a particularly good thing, but we do tend to go for resorts where, they have everything is in the resort. It's a self-contained kind of situation. So, family rooms, more than two or more restaurants, swimming pools, games rooms, maybe kids clubs and entertainment. They want to know what equipment is going to be there, cots, high chairs, baby baths, and things that they need to travel more light, not necessarily if they're coming in the car, but if they're flying. So that's, all-inclusive resorts in the Mediterranean remain very popular with British families because they are so easy. And unfortunately, another side effect of the pandemic is that it's made people, you have two extremes. You have either people who want to go on wild adventure holidays, once-in-a-lifetime holidays to very exotic destinations because they think, oh, what if we can't travel again in the future? But then you've got people who just want to go somewhere very easy, get on a plane, go to a resort in the Med, and the kids can play in the kids park and the pools or the kids club, and the parents can, lie on the beach or by the pool. And unfortunately, that has been reinforced, the safety and the familiarity and the known aspect of that kind of holiday. On the other hand, you do get, there is the opposite swing in people want more nature-based holidays away from the crowds. They're more interested in sustainability because they know that, it's environmental issues that led to the pandemic, that caused the pandemic. So, and, being away from the crowds and more experiences in nature and more authentic travel, helping local communities, meeting local people, being more involved in local life. So it's not all bad news, but there are two kind of extremes. They do like to be, know that there's a wide variety of days out attractions. So, family-friendly, clean beaches, hopefully with like lifeguards and water sports and other facilities, water parks, nature parks or farms to visit is very popular among British travellers these days. Activity centres, zip wires, you have those. Hiking, climbing walls, climbing via ferrata. You don't have via ferrata, but that kind of thing, and rainy day activities as well, such as museums and galleries and maybe some archaeological sites. We're still very fond of self-catering holidays because it's just more flexible. With children, you don't want to eat out 3 times a day, even if you have the money. You don't want to be in a restaurant for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Children don't like that. It's too much sitting around. So, having the option to do that, and it also saves money. So we still really like holiday parks, rental cottages, and Airbnbs. and we like very much signposting and information boards to be available in English. And I think obviously, you know, your main attractions are going to have that. I know the Guggenheim is very good, and of course, why wouldn't it be in terms of that? But like more local museums, I don't know. I've not been to the Basque region with my kids. I've not been to your museums and things, but like, you know, it's just crucial to know in advance if you're going to take your kids to one of these places that, you know, it's going to be, you're going to be able to make it fun, and things are going to be explained to you in English. So, you know, you obviously have your family-friendly label, which is going to be prominent, like on these establishments and on the website and stuff. I think possibly, you know, other labels would probably be useful, like just a English spoken label. Again, I know this sounds incredibly lazy on the part of English, but just put English spoken so that people think, oh yeah, I can go there and I won't be struggling. Maybe kids menu, kids food or something like that. Not necessarily kids menu, but kid-friendly food. Again, I recognize it was already pointed out as well that some people like kids menus, some people don't. It's a question of making the kids' menus more interesting, but English people do tend to like them when they're traveling because they're unfamiliar with the food. And I think it's not so much a Spanish thing. I think Spanish kids are more adventurous in what they eat, whereas, you know, I think it's just the reassurance that that's an option. And again, you know, English language apps. Because if someone doesn't speak English in a museum or a destination, fine. You know, I'm not suggesting that everyone in Spain needs to be able to speak fantastic English, but if you have an app, at least, and some trails, you know, have some trails available in the reception, like a treasure hunt through the museum and stuff. That's always, you know, makes life much easier for parents. So in terms of these services, what can local companies do to increase their sales in the UK market? I've already covered some of this. The English language thing is probably getting on your nerves by now. But, you know, it's not a small consideration. If your kid wants to go surfing in San Sebastian, the parent is going to be nervous. They want to know that their kids understand the safety instructions. The same in restaurants. If their kids have specific dietary requirements or if they have allergies and stuff, they need to know that people are aware of this. So it's not just a laziness thing. It's actually, you know, on a practical level, it's very important. Another thing that struck me is because, you know, we have now Spanish as our main language for teaching in schools, the main language that is learned by children, it's worth trying to tap into the market of people who want to come because they want to force their children to speak Spanish. You know, they'd like an opportunity for their family, even if the parents don't speak Spanish, their children are perhaps choosing to continue Spanish to a higher level. Maybe they're 14 and they're choosing their O-level their GCSE subjects. They're doing a language, and so the parent wants to come to Spain for a holiday so that the kid has a chance to practice. So, you know, maybe it's worth tapping into sort of like a network of teachers, language teachers in the UK, some language foundations and associations who would like to bring like children like over here, but like with their families, not as a school group, for instance. So obviously we've already said the Guggenheim is an excellent example of showing you. If I went onto their website, I have absolutely no hesitation that if I take my kids to the Guggenheim, whatever age they are, small or old, you know, as well as being a fantastic building, an iconic building and stuff, and having the fantastic puppy and the fantastic sculptures, the spider and stuff, it is family friendly already, but, you know, this shows me that there's family-friendly food. It shows me that there's family-friendly resources. So I just need to look at that, and in 5 seconds I can go, yeah, okay, I'm going to go to the Guggenheim with my kids because I know we're going to have a good day out. I think most of all, though, I think there, from what I've heard today, there is an awareness. You can't, the Basque region cannot compete with other destinations such as Barcelona, the Barcelona region, in terms of what it can offer. You will never have a Port Aventura theme park. As we've seen, the Port Aventura theme park had a huge bearing on making Barcelona into a family-friendly destination. And that's not going to happen here. You've had your Guggenheim, that has opened up the region, but it's not like having Port Aventura. So it's not a question of ever trying to emulate. I mean, there's lots we can learn, but at the same time, it's not something that can be emulated. And I think what needs to be shown in the media, in the British media, or in any marketing that you do to the British public, is what is in the region itself. Like, be realistic about the region, which means, you know, it's relatively undiscovered to the British. Not every family wants a relatively undiscovered area. They might want familiarity, as I've already discussed, but some families will. So it's getting to reach those families, accepting that it's a limited number of families, but it is, nevertheless, this is the appeal of the region. You know, it's low key. It's not flashy. It's not, you know, it's low key. It's authentic. You can have authentic Spanish experiences, and it's great value. I mean, I know we've talked that, you know, it's not seen as a cheap destination, but for the British coming here, you know, eating out is very cheap. It is a great value destination, and that's definitely worth getting across to people. So it's really about working with travel partners, travel agencies, and journalists, influencers, and bloggers on conveying this message. And that is, I think, the branding exercise that you need to do, is finding the right influencers, the right press, and also tapping into pushing the message that this is a sustainable destination as well, because, as I've said, that's very big for like British travellers at the moment. You don't need to fly here. Obviously, you can come by ferry. It has low impact businesses and attractions. You're not leaving a huge footprint on the environment. This is very, very, very key to a lot of people these days, if not everybody. Nature tourism is huge, sustainability, outdoor activities. So again, it's pushing the camping, it's pushing the nature, the mountains, the outdoor activities, and things that you can do together as a family. I think that's already been stressed, like, you know, not children on one side and adults on the other. And that's what a lot of these lazy holidays, as I've talked about in the Mediterranean, they do. The kids separate, the kids go to the kids club or kids activities. This is for families this is a kind of place for families who want to spend time together, and I think that's worth pushing as well in the messaging. So, yes, on to Take the Family, because I was invited here on their behalf. I work part-time for Take the Family, and I manage their editorial content, which means all the features. I travel a lot and write about the destinations that I go to from a personal perspective. So I kind of road test a lot of resorts, a lot of destinations. I'm invited to a lot of places, and that is my side of the business. But we are unique and very unusual, perhaps even unique, in that we are a travel agency as well as a publisher. So we sell holidays. We have 3 or 4 travel agents who are all parents, who are all very experienced in family travel, and someone will ring them in the way of, or send us a form, send us an inquiry for a specific type of holiday, and we can sell them the holiday, the full holiday. What I would say with the travel agents is that we do tend to get people who already have a good idea where they want to go. So while we can cross-sell, if somebody, for instance, wanted to come to a particular region of France, we could say, hey, you know, that's great, but if you've already been there, have you thought of going to the Basque Country? On the other hand, a lot of the people who call us, they already say, you know, I want to go on a beach holiday in Dubai or the Maldives. They already have a fairly good idea by the time they come to us. So they're asking for a specific place quite often. My role is more to inspire people. So, you know, I would perhaps write a piece about visiting the Basque Country with my children and the great things that we did. But we might not sell that holiday. We would just be an information point. Maybe if the people called our travel agents, they would say, we can't sell you a holiday here, but have you seen our destination guide? You could, you know, for instance, you know, we could recommend it, but we wouldn't necessarily sell it because, you know, you're not that kind of destination. We were launched to show families that they can travel anywhere and have adventures, and that having children doesn't have to limit where you go. We also, although, as I said, we sell holidays to Mauritius or Dubai or the Caribbean, we also encourage people to go beyond the sun lounger and to explore more authentic destinations. As I said, they still like to go to holiday parks, cottages, apartments in Europe. So, yes, the way that we work is unusual. We sell holidays via the Hayes travel system, which packages holidays with transport, usually flights. We're doing very well at the moment in that, better than before the pandemic. We're selling a lot more holidays just because people want to go with travel agents these days because they have the financial protection. A lot of people lost money in the pandemic because they had bought their flight, bought the hotel, and they weren't covered financially. So unfortunately, it's made British travellers more nervous. They have the backup of a travel agent if things go wrong. But we can also work with companies in other ways. For instance, and this would be more relevant to the Basque region, for instance, a tourist board could work with us to produce a family-friendly destination guide to their city or region. So here we have like Andalucía and Costa de la Luz, and again, horrible pronunciation, I'm sorry. So you would click through to these destinations, and each of them has a full page on the website. It will have it will have an introduction, what kind of region this is, what kind of families it appeals to, and being honest as well, not like this is for everybody, because this region is not for everybody. Explaining why you would go, and then we have a fairly detailed destination guide, things to do with your children. So we would have in that section, obviously, probably start with Bilbao, go to the Guggenheim, have a 2-day city break. We recommend a few restaurants. We would recommend some hotels. And then we would say, but then, you know, go to San Sebastian, go to the beach. Again, we would recommend things to do in that place. And then we would say, but there's also the mountains, the hiking. And so it would be like a full destination guide that you would click through to on those. We also, we could set a tourist board as well as that, or as an alternative to that, a tourist board could ask us to send a solus email to our subscribers. We have a database of about 30,000 families. We send newsletters with offers, partner offers, but we could just showcase the destination in that email. We could do social media posts on behalf of the destination. Again, you could invite a journalist, me, or another writer to visit and write about their experience. Or you could have all of these things or just one of these things. So it's very much what the tourist board has in their budget and what they think will work for them. And lastly, we also work with affiliate links, whereby, for instance, we would send a web traffic to a hotel or an attraction, and then we would earn a percentage of the booking made by our readers. For instance, in destinations that we don't sell package holiday to, say, for instance, Paris, we wouldn't really sell a holiday to Paris with a flight or with travel. So we might just link to booking.com hotels, and then we got a cut from that. So we work in many different ways. For instance, we might work with, Brittany Ferries would be a big example. We don't work with them at the moment, but we've worked with them in the past. If we had, Brittany Ferries might ask us to have an ad on our homepage or on our Spain page, or if there was a Basque region page, which there isn't, they would ask us to have an ad on there. And then if somebody clicked through and booked one of Brittany Ferries' cottage holidays in the region, then we might earn 10% of that or whatever. And I think Brittany Ferries is for the British and for you guys a very good company to work with, because it does offer these kind of authentic holidays, but it offers the reassurance of being a very well-known company in the UK. I mean, I think most people think it's British, but it is French. But like we use those Brittany Ferries to get to France. We're very familiar with them, and I think this would be, a very good company, for instance, for us to work with, and for you guys. I don't know what the involvement with the region already is with Brittany Ferries, but this is a good way to go. And yeah, so they might run banner ads on our site. They might ask us to promote special offers, maybe in a down season, maybe in the May half term. They might say, right, let's have because presumably they get a lot of bookings in summer, but they might say in May we're very quiet, so can you run a special offer? We'll give a special discount of like 10% for your readers or something. So then we would promote that, maybe in a banner ad, or in an email or on social media or something. And we might also, the tourist board could also run a guest post where they could have a page to themselves, talking about a specific attraction. If there was some news, you could have that space. So there's many ways in which we work with like family destinations. There's lots of different opportunities. So really, I think that was my last slide. I think, basically the message is that there's two kind of conflicting things that, British like familiarity and safe, known options, but what's attractive about the Basque region is that it's an unknown quantity, and you need to really identify how to get to those families. That's the real selling point of the region, and it's a question of identifying those markets within Britain, and getting that messaging across through press coverage, through a mixture of things: press coverage, branded content, advertising, and social media. And again, as it's been mentioned, word of mouth being very important, parents recommending it to other people, TripAdvisor reviews, encouraging people to leave TripAdvisor reviews, and just to provide that message of like reassurance, really. So that's it. Gracias.